Señor Presidente,
Mr. President, at the outset, allow me to congratulate you on being elected to preside over this assembly and wish you every success in this important role. This 72nd session is also the first during the term of Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The Secretary General can count on Spain's unwavering support in this task. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Spain wishes to make meaningful contributions to a fairer and freer world, a world with greater solidarity. This assertion of our commitment is particularly relevant following the barbaric terrorist attacks that were perpetrated on 17 August in Barcelona and Cambrils. From this rostrum, I wish to express the sincere gratitude of the people of Spain for the numerous heartfelt displays of support and affection we have received from around the world. Terrorism will be defeated through unity, perseverance, and the full force of the law. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Spain is a free and open society. Our rights and freedoms are safeguarded by our Constitution, which establishes a social and democratic rule of law system. The Spanish government cannot and will not relinquish its defense of the rule of law or values that underpin our political and legal system, that is, freedom, equality, justice, and political pluralism. Spain's public authorities have a duty to protect the rights and freedoms of all Spaniards. Any defiance of the rules of democracy is a grave assault on our peaceful and free coexistence. The act of pitting a supposed legitimacy against the constitutional rule of law inevitably leads to violations of fundamental rights of millions of citizens and is incompatible with the democratic system. With the same conviction and determination with which we defend the constitutional rule and democracy in Spain, we reaffirm the values, purposes, and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. As His Majesty King Felipe VI said a year ago, standing at this very rostrum a year ago, the Charter not only illuminated dark days of the past, but also illuminates our present and our future. Mr. President, Spain undertook our 2015-2016 term on the Security Council with a sense of responsibility. We made significant contributions in the areas of non-proliferation, the fight against terrorism and support for its victims, preventive diplomacy, the humanitarian agenda, and also towards increasing the Council's transparency. With this same dedication, we will serve on the Human Rights Council in 2018-2020, that term, should we be entrusted with this responsibility on 16th of October. Defending and fostering human rights is a priority in Spain's foreign policy. Mr. President, the modern world today is highly interdependent. Extreme poverty, hunger, desertification, global warming, and the protection of woodlands and the oceans, all of these are crucial, pressing challenges that require concerted efforts. Spain reaffirms its full commitment to the 2030 Agenda. This inspires our policies. We are preparing for the voluntary review of progress on the 2030 Agenda in July 2018. The 2030 Agenda requires tremendous collective efforts in order to ensure that no one is left behind. We must work against inequality, promote prosperity, and provide job opportunities to young people so that our planet can remain habitable for future generations. The future habitability of large areas of the world is inextricably linked to compliance with the Paris Climate Agreement. We must act accordingly. Mr. President, large displacements of people have reached in recent years unprecedented levels. The two global compacts on refugees and migrants that we have undertaken to adopt in 2018 should confirm the concerted, equitable, and humane response to the phenomenon of refugees and should contribute to the orderly management of migrant flows to the benefit of countries of origin, transit, and destination. Both phenomena, that of refugees and migrants, deserve differentiated attention. Mr. President, the scourge of war and threats to peace regrettably persist in many places the world over. For 7 years now, we have been referring to the conflict in Syria from this rostrum. We are comforted by the decline in hostilities and by the victories against Daesh. However, we remain greatly concerned that individual interests are taking priority over a political solution. Thanks to a UN's mediation, this can lead to a genuine transition. The United Nations is also playing a central role in promoting a political agreement in Yemen. This will put an end to the world's most serious humanitarian crisis today. In Iraq, the Iraqi government has been able to successfully recapture Mosul and other realms of terror from the hands of Daesh. Spain wishes to contribute to the new Iraq through, inter alia, the training of its security forces. Spain supports Iraq's reconstruction and reconciliation among citizens and rejects political ventures that detract efforts from the priority of consolidating a free, democratic, and united Iraq. In Lebanon, we welcome the recent renewal of UNIFIL's mandate, to which Spain's armed forces are contributing in a relevant way. We trust that rigorous compliance with the agreement with Iran will contribute to nuclear non-proliferation and peace in the region. In the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the parties need to revive the spirit of Madrid and return to the negotiating table. The status quo is not sustainable. We are concerned about the trends we are observing on the ground, which run counter to the two-state solution. Only two democratic states living side by side within secure and recognized borders could ultimately make it possible to meet the legitimate expectations of Israelis and Palestinians. Spain has always given a priority to the Mediterranean region. We hope this will be a space for peace and prosperity. To this end, it is crucial to encourage greater cooperation, such as that fostered by the Union for the Mediterranean. Peace and prosperity in the Maghreb are of a particular interest to Spain. My country welcomes the Secretary General's declared intention to relaunch talks between the parties in the Western Sahara conflict. We trust that his new personal envoy will make it possible for them to move towards a political, fair, lasting, and mutually acceptable solution which will provide for the self-determination of the people of Western Sahara within a framework of provisions compatible with the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. Also in Libya, the SG's new special representative has Spain's full support to contribute to a political solution for a united country on the basis of the political agreement. Spain pays special and preferential attention to the African continent. Africa needs peace, stability, economic growth, and robust institutions. We firmly believe in the potential of African countries, which will flourish when conflicts end, peace becomes consolidated, and social cohesion deepens. Côte d'Ivoire and Liberia are two recent success stories that should pave the way for other conflicts that are still ongoing on the continent. We reaffirm our conviction that resolving these conflicts entails understanding them fully and ensuring inclusive development solutions. We are deeply concerned about the situation in Mali, the Central African Republic, and South Sudan. And here I wish to pay tribute to the UN peacekeepers who lost their lives in these countries and in other UN missions. Spain has close ties with the Sahel countries. We want them to see Spain as a close neighbor, a country full of that is that shows solidarity on which they can rely to combat terrorism and humanitarian crises such as that affecting Lake Chad. We are concerned by the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We call for respect for the constitutional provisions and for dialogue in order to seek solutions, lay the foundations for peaceful coexistence. Likewise, we call on the authorities of Burundi to act responsibly and with full respect for the Constitution. The international community has invested significant resources to support Afghanistan since 2001, and last year it reaffirmed its commitment to this country. Spain deems it crucial to protect the promise of an Afghan society free from extremism and terrorism, respectful of human rights, including the rights of women and children. Mr. President, the nuclear and ballistic proliferation programs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea have become one of the main threats to international peace. North Korea's renewal of nuclear and ballistic testing in 2016 severely undermines the international nuclear non-proliferation regime. Spain is fully committed to this. We once again call on North Korean authorities to abandon the country's isolation and to sincerely embark on a way forward through substantive negotiations for a complete, irreversible, and verifiable denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Ladies and gentlemen, Latin America and the Caribbean are experiencing a period of deep changes in order to renew their institutions and search for mechanisms of integration. In this sense, we believe the Alliance for the Pacific is a successful model of political and economic coordination, and that its dialogue with Mercosur opens a hopeful future for the region. Spain welcomed with satisfaction the peace agreement reached in Colombia. We wish to actively contribute to peace building. We have taken part in the UN mission to supervise the abandonment of weapons, and we are heartened by the positive development of this process and open to participating in the new mission that will verify the reintegration of FARC guerrillas beginning on 26 September. In addition, we are accompanying the consolidation of the peace process through development actions at the bilateral level, the European Union, and multilateral levels as well. We welcome the prospect of a cessation of hostilities with the ELN, and we offer to contribute towards this effort. Spain is also a brother country of Venezuela's. Accordingly, we fervently desire for the Venezuelan people to once again live in democracy, peace, and freedom. We call upon the Venezuelan government, within the context of the current regional efforts, to carry out real dialogue with the opposition, a dialogue respectful of the constitutional framework, with the integrity and separation of powers and of human rights, leading to the release of all political prisoners, the celebration of fair and transparent elections, and putting an end to the humanitarian crises. This is about recovering the voice of the Venezuelan people. My country will spare no effort to make this agreement a reality. Mr. President, Spain supports the difficult, challenging work of the CICIG, the International Commission Against Impunity in Guatemala. Its work is necessary to strengthen the rule of law in Guatemala, and we encourage the continuation of cooperation between the Guatemalan authorities and the CICIG. We hope that recent disagreements between both parties may be overcome through dialogue and conciliation. This commission is an important tool supporting Guatemala's governability, the correct functioning of the institutions, the prosperity, well-being of Guatemalan people, and its contribution to Central American integration. The development and stabilization of Haiti is also a major objective for Spain. My country has participated in the UN mission from its onset. We will continue to support the UN's efforts in the new chapter opened by the Security Council Resolution 2350. Mr. President, the rule of law in the international sphere cannot allow breaches of the principle of sovereignty or territorial integrity of states. The annexation of Crimea represents a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity in clear violation of international law. It is regrettable that such an act could occur in 21st century Europe. We are also concerned by the persistence of the conflict in eastern Ukraine. Its solution requires compliance with the Minsk agreements. The OSCE monitoring mission deserves our full support to that end. Mr. President, the European Union is one of the most admirable legal and political constructs to arise following the Second World War. It has brought Europe unprecedented peace and prosperity. The United Kingdom's decision to leave the Union saddens us, but we will endeavor to ensure that negotiations on a new relationship between the United Kingdom and the Union can yield an agreement preserving a close and fruitful relationship between both parties. Mr. President, in the context of Brexit, Spain has made a generous proposal to resolve the question of Gibraltar. It combines the unwavering claim of Spanish sovereignty over the colony with a statute that benefits the ROC's inhabitants so that they may continue to enjoy the advantages of EU membership. We invite the United Kingdom to negotiate an agreement based on these premises, to put an end to an anachronism that seems completely outlandish given the excellent relations between our two countries. We cannot let more time go by without fulfilling the United Nations mandate calling on us to negotiate the question of Gibraltar. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the Hispano-Roman philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." We have no choice but to dare to face, together and with determination, the problems that afflict us. With commitment, perseverance, and humility, we can make great progress. The road is long and allows for no delays. Let us make the fulfillment of the San Francisco Charter's aspirations for peace, sustainable development, and human rights the imperative goal guiding our work during this session. Thank you very much, Mr. President.